Hello folks and welcome. Another video for Nobara Linux. It's a GNOME desktop. It's a Fedora based distribution. Anyways, I am going to be talking about colorful mouse pointers today. You know, this distribution only comes with a one mouse pointer and it's dark black. So I will default to that here in a second, but let me first just give you system information. This is Nobara Linux 37. As of April of 2023, this is the latest distribution. You can see the kernel information there. And I'm filming in 3840 by 2160 at 200% today. Go check out your gearbox. If it doesn't look right, maybe you can change the video resolution to something that suits you better, if that's a problem. You can also watch my videos on your big screen TVs if you have the YouTube app. Just take a look at the name of the channel. So in either case, folks, I will say welcome. And none of my videos are under 2 minutes, but they all have chapters and timelines. And I do encourage that you read my About section and also the Community tab if you're doing keyword searches. I do have another video also from Nobara on web apps if you're looking for other material. But I should be releasing both of these pretty shortly. But in either case, folks, welcome. So let me talk about this mouse pointer here. First of all, you should already have this tool installed called Tweeks. Okay, and depending on what you're doing, sometimes you need to actually close it and reopen it. But the cursors that you normally have installed is this one only. So let me close this down and get rid of everything and bring it back to stock or standard. So my home folder, Paul is my user for today, but Paul's home folder, and Paul is just a made-up name, but he has a folder called .icons that are not currently being displayed. So show hidden, in other words, Control H. So that's this folder right here that contained that other mouse pointer that you saw earlier. So what I'm going to do is actually throw that in the trash, but before I do that, I'm going to empty my can, just so I have something to return this folder a little bit later. So I'm going to delete it. Now it's in the trash can. So opening up my Tweaks tool again, and normally you don't have to install this. I did not install it when I installed this distribution, and I did it today as of April 6th, 2023. This very current, in other words. So Tweaks was already installed, but this is the default mouse pointer. There is only one at way top. I'll show you where this mouse pointer is actually located. It's not located in that .icons folder. It's located somewhere else on the system. It's in the user share icons folder, which is protected by root permissions. That's why I'm not going to really walk through the installation process, but I will show you the location a little bit later. Now I'm going to return that folder from the trash can and talk about this pretty heavily. So it has currently two themes. So let me grab a hold of this window and drag it over here and open up another window, just so I have something for you to look at. And I will leave the downloads folder here. So I'm going to show you first a website where you can get these. But before I do that, I'm going to switch the mouse pointer to the yellow one I had earlier. The yellow one is called Radioactive. And the reason it's available now is because I have a .icons folder. So let's talk about that briefly. How would you do this? You would right-click, create folder, start with a period or a dot, and it has to be spelled exactly like that. If you do it any other way, like an uppercase I, for instance, it will fail. It has to be spelled with a lowercase, just like it is. Okay? We're good to go? And I can tell you, I've been doing this for such a long time that this works in just about every Linux distribution. Now, since I only have two themes in here, I'm going to add some more. Now, I downloaded some of these from the same website I'm about to show you, and these are all compressed files. And when you're dealing with multiple compressed files in different formats, that's in tar, that's in tar.bz2, that's tar.gz, this is tar.tar, tar.gz, you get the idea now? There's a lot of different ways that you can uncompress things and compress things. So a lot of the other distributions have automatic theme installers that fail a lot of the themes. The reason being is because they don't get uncompressed properly. That's why I'm going to use the file manager for this whole process and show you the same. And you can probably carry some of that information onto these other distributions if you use them, because it's all done the same way. I will show you the process of how to uncompress things properly and what to look for so you don't have failures. All right, so let's talk about where to get this stuff. So I'm going to use my own YouTube site for a guinea pig. This is a web-based icon that I created use on my previous video. It's just an icon that I created a shortcut. So my YouTube site contains a little foot over here if you're using a standard web browser. If you're using a mobile device, then you may have to click the About section. In either case, my recommendation is whenever you're doing this kind of stuff, you do this on a regular computer. All right, so whether you click the gnome-look.org here or you go to the About section, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go through my YouTube site either. Just take a look at that website. All right, so this has 793 mouse cursors or pointers. And a lot of your other Linux distributions get their mouse cursors from the same location, even though they're using automated installers. And the reason that their automated installers fail sometimes is because the way these folks that are creating these things, the content providers of these mouse pointers, in other words, the developers, compress things in a different way. And the uncompression part is the key to this whole thing. So let me show you the example of this mouse pointer here. And I'm going to use a search feature up here by typing in RADIO. So let's try RADIO. There, now it found it. That's what I'm looking for, radioactive, the name of this mouse pointer. And the reason I like to use this example is it points out to all the stuff that I'm going to be talking about in this video today. I'm going to be talking about this .icons folder, and that's made reference in here under this description area, right here. Forget about this rest of this stuff. Your home folder, Paul's home folder in this case, because Paul is my fictitious user for today. But it doesn't say Paul here, it just says home. So home folder.icons, that's where I'm going to be placing my mouse pointers. I don't need to deal with permissions. I don't have to worry about dealing with, do I have the right permissions to put files and folders here? You do, that's your own folder. This one you do though. The USR share icons folder contains the other mouse pointer, this one right here. So we're dealing with the Tweeks Tool. And appearance under cursors, the default mouse pointer is contained in that folder. So that's where that one is stored. This one right here is installed in my user share icons folder. And that is not a hidden folder. That is protected by root permissions though, and is called system-wide installation. That's what the keyword here is. What that means is if I add new users to this distribution, all of the new users will get this mouse pointer if it's installed here. But I could install mouse pointers here as long as I know how to open up my file manager in root mode so I can add folders and files to that. But we're not going to deal with that today. We're going to talk simple here. Home folder.icons. All right, we're good to go there? All right, let's take a look at the files they have available for this mouse pointer. Let me now switch this. So let me first open this up. And I'm going to deal with Tweeks. Radioactive it is. All right, we only have one file we need to worry about. I don't use the download or install keys on any distribution whatsoever. I download these directly. Okay, I'm not sure what's in my download folder. Let me go check it. It's just a mouse pointer folder. So I'm going to click that one. And then I'm going to pick a couple more themes under cursors. We could go searching for things. There was another one in there that you haven't seen yet. It's called Azenis. Yes, I knew I could spell that. This one's the variable size, and there's also fixed 32 and 48. Those are the size of the pointer, and they can't be resized. This one that I'm currently using can be resized. And when you're shopping for a mouse cursor, sorry, I didn't mean to click the empty spot, but this one states it's tested on a something laptop with a certain size only, 32 by 32. That's actually a very small one. And a lot of these will make mention of a 48 by 48. Those will work in 1080 pretty well. Then this one says 64, 48, 32, 24. Let's download that one, because that has three different, or 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes. All right, so let's download that one. It gives me the examples of what the cursor is going to look like, and it's going to be that, and then whatever the mouse action is doing, like if it's busy working in the background or doing other stuff, it'll perform these other actions. It's only one file. So we're going to download that one. That one is tar bz2. Not that that matters much. But the reason I made mention of the compressions, because a lot of the folks that are on other distributions have problems uncompressing these using their automated installers. That's why I use the file manager exclusively to do this with. And you'll see the benefits of why a little bit later. So let's do one by rating. Let's download that one. That one has a variable size one. And we'll pick the dark version and download that. And then one more. I will go to the regular one, and we'll just pick this empty butterfly yellow thing. It looks like it has multiple. And how many? They got a Windows version and a Linux. Obviously, we want the Linux version, or maybe not. But in either case, just to let it finish, and it looks like it does all these other actions also. It looks like it goes from 32 to 96, so 96 is pretty big. All right, it's finished downloading. I'm going to close this. Before I do, though, I just wanted to let you see the name of the website one more time: gnome-look.org. And again, you can find that on my YouTube site, either here or here, if you want a convenience factor. If not, handwrite this down. All right, let's go look at these files. So first I'm going to open up my hidden folder .icons, and I'm going to move it to the side because we're going to be placing files in here. So I'm going to create another window so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll resize this a little bit here and go to downloads. Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. All right, well, I'm going to uncompress these things. Now here's the rule. It's very important you understand this. When you uncompress any theme that you downloaded for a mouse pointer into .icons, it has to be done this way. It has to have a folder name and not another subfolder. Now, I know that's a subfolder, but it has an index theme here. That's very important to understand. Okay? If it has another subfolder and no index theme, you're not going to be able to even pick it from the menu. It will fail. I'm going to show you some of the examples of the failure. Let's start with the empty butterfly yellow thing first. It's done in a zip format. That's a tar.gz, that's a tar.tar, and that's a tar.gz. So they're all compressed differently. So we're going to extract the first one here. And it extracts into a folder called empty butterfly yellow something something. I can tell you right off the bat by looking at this, this will not work. But I will, nonetheless, I will throw it in this folder right here, just as is. And then I'm going to fix it for you a little bit later. So I'm going to do, I already have radioactive, so I don't need to uncompress this one. But if I were to extract that, it extracts into a folder and it has an index theme. That is a proper extraction. All I need to do is drag and drop, but I already have it. So far, so good? All right, let me get rid of that so it doesn't confuse you. And this is my main mouse pointer folder that I have other themes I downloaded from that same website. So let's go with the next one, this Skurum something something in Tartar, and extract that one. Let's take a look at it. And it has an index theme and some other stuff and a cursor theme. I believe this one will work just like it is. So let me drag that and drop it in here. And what's the last one? Voltanus. Extract. And that one's going to fail. I can tell you that right off the bat because it has no index theme here. It just has a subfolder. But I'm going to drag it in here nonetheless. Because this is what happens when you have one of those automated installers on some of the other Linux distributions. And they pull in and they'll give you an error. And you have no idea what the error is. It just says it didn't install properly. The reason it didn't install properly is because it's doing exactly what I'm doing here. It's uncompressing them incorrectly. What do I mean by that? Okay, how many themes do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have 5 themes here if I open up my Tweaks tool. But what you'll see is I'll only have 3. I have the default plus the other 3. The default is not installed in here. Remember, it's installed in the USR share icon folder, protected by root permissions. This is your .icons folder in your home directory. 1, 2, 3. 1, Azenis. What's Azenis look like? This one. That's this mouse pointer right here. Radioactive is this one right here. This Skurum blah 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 is this one right here. It looks like a spear. The Voltanis is not listed here. Neither is the empty butterfly yellow. By the way, when you change mouse pointers, I also recommend that you, if you're going to keep it, is to log out of your system and back in, if not a reboot. Now the size of the pointer is changed somewhere else. So let me cover this real quick. Settings. Go down to your accessibility option menu and look at cursor size. If the mouse pointer or cursor is resizable, you should be able to see it by doing that. This one's slightly resized. You saw the change. It was a slight change, but changed nonetheless. Some of these do not resize. Okay? Now, what's wrong with these over here? As I pointed out earlier, I'm going to change this back again. I'm going to just turn my Tweaks tool back on and go back to my yellow one, and which is radioactive. And I'm going to talk about this one, this empty butterfly yellow. The reason it doesn't work is because I don't have an index theme listed here. I still don't have an index theme, and I'm 2 layers into this thing. There it is. So now I need to back up one folder and actually copy this out of here and back into my main .icons folder and paste it. So now I have this one here that has index theme on it. I'm going to get rid of all this mess. Now I'm going to go back over here to my Tweaks tool and see that I can pick that now, because it now has a subfolder that has the correct formulation of how it's supposed to be. There it is. That's the mouse pointer that you're looking at right here. Is this resizable? Let's find out. As you can see, it did some weird thing. That was because it was busy and it turned into a grid. That's just an action of the mouse. That's a lot of times when you're looking at the themes, there's those extra icons on that one website. That's what they mean. When your mouse pointer is doing some background work, when it's resizing, sometimes it changes, that kind of thing. All right, that does resize. It goes from a small to a large. All right, so we still don't have this Voltanis in here, right? Let's go back to radioactive for a second. So Voltanis is missing. So let's close that and fix that one, because it's sitting in here as a subfolder. Ah, there's my index and cursor theme. So all I need to do here is copy that one, or I could do a cut also and paste. And I'm going to get rid of this one. Is that the correct one? Yes, it has the index and cursor theme. Guess what? Now Voltanis is online. I can pick it. That's why I recommend using file managers for this job, folks. Is Voltanis right there. It's this one. Is that one resizable? Not sure. I forgot, even though I've used this one before. Oh yeah, it is. It is resizable. A slight change, but it is resizable. And again, depending on what you're doing, if you decide to settle in on a mouse pointer, always log out of your system and log back in, if not a reboot. Otherwise, you sometimes get remnants of your old mouse pointer. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my radioactive one. And as you noticed, it resized the actual cursor size. So let me go fix that because I'm switching. Really abusing the system, as one would say. And it went back to default. So I'm going to do large again. And now if I was to keep this, I would log out of my system. So it doesn't matter how many of these that you installed. I'll install some more if you like. Just give you some more examples. But they all need to go into your .icons folder if you're doing this. And they all need to have that subfolder with the index theme on it. If you have another folder inside, I think I have one of those themes here that has 3 themes in one. Yeah, I think it's this one. So let me uncompress that one and let you see what's in there. See, there are subfolders in here. So if I were to drag this in, or do like some of the other folks do, is install this in an automated fashion on some of the other distributions, this will give me an error. So if I do it this way, by ATA Modern will not be able to be displayed in here. But I can show you how to fix this really quick. So there's no B in here. Starts with A and goes to E. So what I do with that is I take the subfolders and check them. I have an index and a cursor theme. That's correct. And open up that one. I have an index and cursor theme. And the modern ice, I have index and cursor theme. So there are 3 cursors here, an amber colored one, classic, and ice. Guess what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to cut these out of here, doing it a little differently than the previous, and I'm going to paste those. Now there are 3 different themes there. And then I'm going to get rid of this Bayata Modern box totally. It's gone. And walk over to here to my Tweaks tool. And now I should be able to select all of them manually. That was a weird effect. It looked like one of those little digital boxes running around. Okay, that's the Bayata Modern Amber. This is the Classic, which is a black one. And the Modern Ice is a white one. You saw how I did this. It's pretty easy to do, actually. The cool thing about any of this stuff, I closed the tweak box too quickly. I'm going to switch back to my yellow one. Under Appearance, let me go back to, where is it, Radioactive. The cool thing about this is I'm going to dump everything in my trash. Is I can do maintenance in here by deleting whatever I want. So if I want the butterfly gone, the ice gone, and Voltana's gone, and leave the rest by leaving the, well, I'll do the classic also. So if I do this by clicking once, twice, well, actually, let me just draw a box around these guys. Let's say I wanted to get rid of 4 of those at the same time. I just hit delete. I can individually do this. So those icons are, sorry, those mouse cursors or pointers are gone currently. They're in my trash. They're not, you can pick them. They're not in the menu. I have the amber one though. But if I changed my mind, I can always pull them out of my trash. Okay, do I want all of them? Yeah, why not? Let's just do all of them. I'll restore all of them from trash. And now they should all be available online. The cool thing about understanding this process is it all has to do with how it uncompresses things and the knowledge of, is it in a subfolder or is it all by itself? That's the key of how it becomes available in this menu. Because if it's not formulated right, you can't pick it. And a lot of your automated installers for other Linux distributions, other Linux distros, that's why they have hang-ups. I've seen it countless times in several Plasma desktops, and I'm not going to name any names, that they don't handle that process properly. And it all has to do with how it uncompresses these. So again, when I'm dealing with these right here, you saw the main folder when it uncompressed itself. The main folder came up with these as subfolders. If you place the main folder in here, the system does not know how to look inside of these things. It's always looking for that index or cursor theme thing. That's why you want that in the second stage of this. The first thing is just the primary folder for the name. Then it has an index theme. Same thing with all of these. Some of them have two. They have index and cursor theme. But more importantly, you saw what happened with this one. That one was 3 layers deep. Example of that would be in my downloads folder. I still have it. Or do I have it? Is it in my trash? Oh, I must have dumped it. But that cursor theme, like I said, was when I uncompressed it earlier. It had, you know, a couple of layers thick in there. And this one will probably do the same thing if I do a straight extraction. This is not what you want. There's no index in here. But that one does. That means I need to copy this folder over to the .icons folder, not the main folder here. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. So that's the whole key of making sure when you uncompress these things. And the reason that they don't handle these folders correctly is because they're compressed in different ways. And then when you're doing the uncompression, it all depends on how it uncompresses things. But in general, when your system is looking for cursor themes, it is looking for a single folder with the next step in line of index theme. That's how it runs. You can experiment that, of course, on your own by copying and pasting files from your downloaded and uncompressed mouse pointer files. So again, here's another example of one that I'm going to extract. That did not extract properly. So if I were to do the example here, let me click on the right icon. And I'm going to switch screens this time. I'm going to use this one for my .icons folder. And I'm going to take this pulse class and drag it over here. And it's not available in my menu right now. The reason for that is because it is not formulated properly. This would be a perfect example on some of these systems I was making mention earlier. So this is called pulse glass. It will not be in here. However, I can fix this in like 2 seconds. All I need to do is look for the one that has the index theme in it. And that's the primary folder is right here. So I would just cut that out and paste it in here. And get rid of that numeric pulse glass. That doesn't do me any good anyways. So now that has an index theme and cursor theme. Close. Tweak. Promise this will be a last example. Pulse glass. And that's probably hardly visible to you. It's so small. Would this be another one that I probably would need to resize? Well, let's look. I don't know if you can see this thing. It's so tiny. However, this would probably work fairly well on a small screen. Unfortunately, that is the largest it goes. I don't know if you can see this. It does not resize. So that would not work for my current screen resolution of 38 by 40 by 2160. I would have to probably decline on that one. But the good thing about this is, since I'm going to switch this over to radioactive for a second, is I don't need to keep it. I can go into my home folder .icons and get rid of pulse glass rather quickly by just highlighting it and deleting it. It's gone. That way I don't have to maintain anything. And if I change my mind, I can always go back in the trash and restore it. Thank you for watching, folks. Take care.